When we've started, um, the primary focus of the organization was to provide a voice for women in the environmental movement, because so much of the environmental movement was leadership was dominated by men and particularly white men. I was in graduate school at the time, and I had been talking to my professors about the fact that I was so frustrated with the environmental movement and particularly the conservation movement that I felt like so often I was the only woman in the room. One of my professors said, "Well, I think I can raise a little money for you. Why don't you put together a women's environmental conference?" I thought, well, maybe 30 women would show up. Well over 100 women from around the region showed up for that conference.
We didn't have adequate data on exposures for women. We had to extrapolate from the work that we had on janitorial workers who use some of the same products in commercial settings, and we know that the chemistry is the same.
Weave has historically and currently relied on good, solid science to make the case for the work that we do. And at the same time, we're much more focused on the justice side of things and on protecting communities.
Weave's mission speaks directly to my identity. I've seen firsthand in my personal life, with family and friends, and by being a Black American, the impacts of disproportionate exposure of people who look like me to harmful pollution.
As a Latina scientist, I've often found myself navigating spaces that were just not designed for me. We're actually redefining who gets to be seen as credible, who gets to be seen as a leader and as worthy of health and safety.
Weave's evolution has had great impact, bringing in more Black and brown folks, people who are disproportionately marketed to with toxic products and who are most vulnerable to the impacts of the toxic chemicals.
In the last 30 years, the way Weave has used science to affect corporate practice particularly is really impacting ingredient transparency, getting ingredients on the labels of products. When we started our Safe Cleaners campaign, there were no ingredients on any labels. You really had a hard time finding out what these products were made of. So we used science to determine, well, some of these toxic chemicals may be in your products, and then asking corporate partners the question, what is in your products? What are you using? What are you hiding from your customers? And that really led to just a real breakthrough. There are now ingredients on every cleaning product label that you'll see. Customers are able to make better decisions on what they want to be exposed to. And then companies really have to reflect on what they want to admit or not admit are chemicals in the products that they use, which really reflects their company values.
My favorite was the Detox the Box campaign because it used humor and it used, that cultural moment that's probably outdated now. And I did have an older friend say, well, dear, that box is another word for it. It's like, yes, that's kind of the point.
Time to detox the box.
This is an organization that has engaged so many women from so many different backgrounds in many, many different campaigns throughout the history of Weave. And I think that's contributed to its richness as an organization.
Watching the Weavers Network uplift fellows like Umi Bashir, who started a health tech company rooted in her experience that she had as a fellow at Weave, that's what I would consider legacy work.
I learned about toxic ingredient exposure. I learned about how legislation can be utilized to provide safer products for women. This was something that changed my view of what it means to be an advocate, not just by giving people period products, making period products accessible, ensuring that those products are actually safe.
It's three-pronged strategy of organizing people to protect themselves, working with companies, and working with legislation. That is such a powerful trio of strategies, but this is just the beginning.
Over the last 5 years, it has been really important for that mission to expand, to include folks' voices from the global majority, from gender expansive communities, and explicitly stating that in our mission is a testament to how the organization is embodying and living our values. Moving from women's voices for the earth to weaving voices for health and justice has been long overdue. It has been a conversation within the organization, feedback from our external stakeholders, from our community, that it is important to evolve with the times. And this new name, Weaving Voices for Health and Justice, is our attempt to share our intention with the communities that we serve, that we are listening, and that this is a space for them.
The fact that we endured all those years and that we've flourished and the organization has continued to be relevant is amazing. And I really look forward to seeing what happens for the next 30 years.